DLC weapons were first introduced to COD with the Peacekeeper, all the way back in Black Ops 2. Since then, they become a major part of the Call of Duty formula, with some COD games having more DLC weapons than base weapons. Insane to think about, I know. It's sort of become a trend for DLC guns to be way too good when they come out as a way to get people to pay for the Battle Pass. And it works, but there's also been quite a few crappy DLC guns throughout the years. What is up, everybody? Jimmy or Chaos. Today, we're going to go over my picks for the 20 worst DLC weapons in COD history. You let me know down in the comments what you think is the actual worst DLC gun in the entire franchise. Drop a like on the video, guys. And at number 20, the DBSR-50 in Black Ops 3. When Treyarch announced there was going to be a new bolt-action sniper called the DBSR, a lot of us made the assumption it would be a remake of the iconic DSR from Black Ops 2. We were wrong. Double-barrel sniper. Could fire twice before needing to be rechambered, and it also didn't come with any kind of sniper scope, so you had your iron sights. You had to unlock the optics the old-fashioned way, which it was a lot easier said than done because the damage on this thing, it was not good. It seemed like there was no good way to know if you were going to get a one-shot kill or a hit marker on somebody, and since you were forced to use close-range optics for most of the progression, it was just a very frustrating gun to use, especially since everyone had jetpacks in the game. Sniping was hard enough while everyone was running around. I think it's a good way to start today's list, and guys, before we move on, we launched a Chaos Shorts channel. You guys can go submit your best clips, funny, fails, epic, whatever it is. The link is at the top of each short, and you can go submit on the document. If it gets picked, it could end up on all the Chaos platforms: Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. So definitely get over there and subscribe and submit your gaming clips. At number 19, the three-line rifle COD World War II. Now, in terms of stats, it wasn't a bad gun, but it was one of the worst long-range weapons in the game simply because of how awkward its handling traits actually were. It was a bolt-action sniper, had a pretty generous one-shot kill range, but it had really clunky handling. It could sway a ton when you were aiming down the sights. It also had this really strange optic that made it difficult to line up shots on moving targets. That didn't help. Once you hit somebody, you were almost certainly going to kill them. That was good, but it was definitely one of the hardest snipers in the game to stay on target with, and there really wasn't any advantage to use it over the other bolts in the game. At number 18, the Olympia in Black Ops 3. I've said it before and I will say it again. This gun was a lot better than its Black Ops 1 counterpart, but that does not mean it was good because, well, the Black Ops 1 version was one of the worst guns we've ever gotten in COD history. So even though the Black Ops 3 Olympia was a step up, it was still one of the worst guns in the game. May have been satisfying to get one-shot kills. That's what a shotgun's supposed to do, but ultimately, it was limited in its function. It was not worth using over any other shotgun in the game. At number 17, the VLK Rogue in Modern Warfare 2019. I call it a goofy little pump-action shotgun. Had a super fast fire rate, but it also had a ridiculously inconsistent damage profile, so even though you could get a one-shot kill and you could fire it really quickly, you very rarely got the benefits of those two things at the same time. It looked cool. It had solid mobility because of the small size. That damage was low. I mean, it wasn't worth using. Even though the fire rate was high, because the fire rate wasn't quite high enough to offset the low damage, it just wasn't worth it. At number 16, the AK-74U in Black Ops 3. Now, the AK-74U, it's one of my favorite SMGs in COD history. But the Black Ops 3 version, I can't argue for it. Had the same low fire rate and bouncy recoil the other versions of the weapon had, but it didn't have that high damage to make up for it. It just made it an awkward and underwhelming gun to use. If this thing was a consistent 3-shot kill, it wouldn't have made this list at all because it would have had it would have made all those bad handling traits worth it. But the damage, so inconsistent, you were often needing to hit somebody 4 to 5 times in order to drop them. It's not going to work. Super underwhelming version of the iconic weapon. At number 15, the KVK-99M in Black Ops 3. We're going to talk about another lame duck here. Iconic weapons, right? KVK is a remake of the iconic AN-94 with basically all the best aspects of it removed. Yes, it did have the nice little hyperburst feature, but it also had horrible damage. I mean, the firing sound sucked, killed the whole vibe and appeal of the Black Ops 2 version that we know and love. I know some people actually like this version, but as someone who actually used the Black Ops 2 version back in the day, I don't see what you people see in it. I was super underwhelmed by the KVK-99M. I think it deserves to be on this list. Not only was it a massive step backwards from the Black Ops 2 AN-94, it's also entirely outclassed by basically every other assault rifle in Black Ops 3. When you're making a DLC weapon of a legacy weapon, you got to get it right. At number 14, the GPMG, what a name, in COD World War II. This was one of the first DLC guns released in the game. It was the hottest piece of garbage out of the gate. Sledgehammer eventually patched it. They drastically sped up the reload animation, but it didn't fix the bigger issue. was simple fact. It was meant to be a middle ground between AR and LMG, but it didn't fit either role. Had clunky handling of an LMG. Magazine was only 30 rounds. That doesn't make sense. And the time to kill wasn't good. So even after the reload speed was patched, there was no point in using it over an actual rifle or an LMG. It was basically just a really slow assault rifle that didn't even kill as quickly as the other AR, so why would you ever choose it? At number 13, the ZK-383, another awesome name in COD World War II. I always thought this thing was cool, neat, I guess, but in terms of actual viability, not so much. This SMG was kind of like the Ripper in the sense it had that fast-firing mode and slow-firing mode, one of which was better for spraying and praying, the other was better for precision, but that damage profile wasn't very good in either scenario. So even though it looked and sounded cool, it was certainly unique compared to other guns in COD World War II. It just wasn't worth using over the other slew of SMGs. I mean, you would often need 5 shots to get somebody. If you were using the slow-firing mode, that was a painfully slow time to kill, and even if you were using the fast-firing mode, you were only firing at 800 rounds per minute, so the time to kill was still slow compared to the other SMGs. I'm thinking, come on, the PPSHs in this game looked cool, sounded cool, but once the novelty wore off, you forgot about it. At number 12, the Rift E9 Black Ops 3. Now, I remember the community being super upset about the Rift being added to Black Ops 3 because it was an energy gun being added to a game at that time where we were still pretty iffy on the idea of laser guns and futuristic weaponry in COD. But even if you did manage to pull the Rift out of a supply drop, good luck. You probably weren't going to use it because it was bad. 2-round burst pistol needed at least 2 shots to kill, but it was also a slow-moving projectile instead of a hit scan, like almost everything in Black Ops 3, so it was basically pointless beyond point-blank range. And with the other amazing pistols in the game, the RK5, the MR6, heck, the Marshalls, Rift wasn't even worth using. It was cool. I mean, I guess you could use it as a melee weapon. At number 11, the Rytec AMR in Modern Warfare the Reboot. Now, I do appreciate that the Rytec had explosive bullets. That's cool, super satisfying to land a headshot with. That was the only positive aspect. It was painfully slow as a sniper rifle. Some of the worst handling traits in the game, and if you equip the awesome explosive rounds, it would make the handling even worse while also completely destroying your bullet velocity. It was just bad. It was all around terrible. It was even made worse by the fact that it was supposed to be the new Modern Warfare's universe equivalent of the Barrett 50 cal. Once again, nowhere near the legend. At number 10, the HD-40 in Black Ops 3. I always tell the story of disappointment with this gun when I got it from a supply drop. It was meant to be the futuristic remake of the iconic MP40. It was the first time an MP40 had been in the COD multiplayer world since World at War, and needless to say, they failed. The HD-40 had a low fire rate, bouncy recoil like the MP40 did back in 2008, but it also had horrible damage and range drop-off that made it arguably the worst gun in the entire game. Treyarch eventually buffed it, but it still wasn't good. I don't know why would you ever pick it over something else, the Kuda, the VMP. I mean, I think it's the worst multiplayer MP40 in COD history by a massive margin. At number 9, the HDR in Black Ops 6. Fan favorite sniper in Modern Warfare the Reboot. While its return in Black Ops 6, it was met with praise in Warzone. The multiplayer version has to be one of those mid-snipers ever. Heavy, slow, clunky, doesn't even guarantee you a one-shot kill if you hit your target. The only reason people use the HDR in multiplayer is to level it up for Warzone. There was no reason otherwise. The other snipers are more mobile, more versatile, and honestly way more reliable. At number 8, the Striker 45 in Modern Warfare 2019. Now, usually when an SMG shoots slowly and has a small magazine, it hits like a truck in return. But the Striker, it didn't deliver that. It was bouncy, it was slow, had a 25-round mag, and it was weak. You would often need 4 to 5 shots to kill somebody despite the fire rate being low and that mag being so small. So what was the point here? I mean, I guess Infinity War wanted to be like the classic UMP, but the UMP was a freaking 2-shot kill with stopping power, so I don't really know what the point of the Striker was even supposed to be. At number 7, the AN-94 in Modern Warfare 2019. I know some of you managed to find redeeming qualities in the Black Ops 3 version of the AN-94, but there is absolutely no redeeming qualities in this. The damage profile was pathetic, so even if you did manage to hit the hyperburst for the first couple shots, you were still going to have a painfully slow time to kill, and I really don't know what the point of the gun was supposed to be. It was so bad compared to everything in the game. Completely terrible, and it crapped all over the legacy, again, of the Black Ops 2 version. At number 6, the RSA interdiction in Black Ops 3. Now, sniper rifles in Black Ops 3 didn't have aim assist, which made it really hard to use them aggressively. Treyarch even eventually announced they were adding a DLC sniper called the Interdiction, which was a bolt-action sniper with aim assist built in, presumably making it the best sniper in the game for quickscoping. What they didn't tell us was that while it did indeed have aim assist, It also had bad handling speeds, a teeny tiny one-shot kill range, and it meant that it was actually way harder to use consistently than the other bolt-action snipers that didn't have aim assist. So once again, I say it, I repeat, what was the point? Now we arrive at the top 5. The Dragoon, Black Ops 3. Now, somehow the RSA wasn't the worst sniper in Black Ops 3, despite it being completely pointless. The Dragoon was another bolt-action sniper, but it had some of the worst traits you could ever ask for in a game. I mean, slow handling, slow fire rate, didn't guarantee a one-shot kill, swayed like crazy when you aim down the sights, and you had to reload the bullets one at a time instead of using a magazine like every other sniper in the game. Treyarch said this sniper was supposed to be a callback to old-school snipers like the M40A3 in COD 4. I don't see that at all. If it was supposed to do older sniper rifles justice, it missed. The old-school snipers may have been a bit clunky compared to later ones, but at least when you hit your targets, they went down. At number 4. The Vendetta in Black Ops 4. Now, during the launch window of BO4, the community was asking constantly for a DLC sniper to be added, and it took a long time for Treyarch to listen and come through, but once they did, it was the Vendetta, which was not a bolt-action sniper like we were hoping for. Instead, it was a semi-auto sniper with a high fire rate and low damage. Basically, it was the MK14, but they put a sniper scope on it, and nobody wanted it. Not only was it super underwhelming to finally get a DLC sniper, only to find that it basically wasn't even a sniper, it was extra underwhelming to finally use the thing and realize it was outclassed by every single sniper in the game because it couldn't even get a one-shot kill. Not sure what Treyarch was thinking, but it was bad. At number 3, the Stinger in COD World War II. So many DLC weapons in the game. I mean, I could commend Sledgehammer for making most of them viable to some degree, but the Stinger, complete and utter total garbage. It was one of the heaviest weapons in the game, basically impossible to use unless you were camping, and it also had one of the slowest fire rates in COD history, and I know the damage per shot was really high, but the time to kill was so slow, so in practice, anybody could bob and weave between your shots. I have no idea how anybody could defend this thing. I mean, you're going to, somebody's going to. You know what? Defend it. Let's see. At number 2, the Blunderbuss in AW. I know some of you are going to say, Jimmy, this gun was supposed to be bad. I know. I'm not using that as an excuse because the Blunderbuss was really bad through and through. Pirate shotgun, one shot in the chamber, took like 14 seconds to reload. It's not like the one-shot kill range was all that good because you would pretty frequently get a hit marker with your one shot, which would lock you into this super long reload animation, and you'd have to boost jump away from the situation without getting blasted back to the lobby somehow. Complete trash. Come on, trash can of a shotgun. Since we're on the topic of trash shotguns, let's wrap it up at number 1 today, and let's stick with it. Number 1. Blunderbuss, COD World War II, basically just the Advanced Warfare version, but without the advanced movement, so you couldn't even close the gap between you and your enemies, and you also couldn't boost jump away from danger during the super long reload animation, so it was all the negatives of the Advanced Warfare Blunderbuss, but no potential positives. Yeah, I think that's the worst DLC gun in COD history. I know some of you are going to say it's supposed to be bad again, but that doesn't make it not bad, does it? It was bad, you know it, I know it, and there we go. Give me 2 DLC weapons that were terrible that did not make this list. I'll see you soon.